I'm tired.
The Late Morning Program with Nam Ras Podcast.
Hare Krishna, everyone. You're listening to the Late Morning Program, the #1 Hare Krishna podcast in the world. I'm very honored to have my dear friend Gaurav Sharma on. Gaurav, thank you for joining me.
Hare Krishna, everyone, and thank you, Nama.
So Gaurav is a dear friend of mine who lives in Vrindavan. He is a Brajvasi. He's a member of the family of the Radharaman Temple. He is also an activist in his own right. He has a foundation called Love Braj, which we'll hear about, which helps the residents of Vrindavan. It's actually very comprehensive in the way he runs that seva there. But I want to hear more about your background, Gaurav. Tell us where you were born and how your upbringing was, and then up to you spent also a lot of time in the UK.
Hare Krishna, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nama, for allowing me to be on your podcast. And it's truly #1, definitely.
Thank you.
Yes, I mean, born, brought up in Vrindavan, and what happened? Once I was born, uh, in our family, because the family background is coming from Radharman Goswami family, they're strict, disciplinary. How we, how from the childhood, how we should get up, what we should do, and after that, I was in Gurukul since the age of 3.5 years of my age. I went to renowned Gurukul. I was in Gurukul for at least 8 years, and there's a famous picture of Srila Prabhupada when they did a picture of Srila Prabhupada with our Gurukul batch as well. So I'm in that painting, and people still say, "Were you there when Srila Prabhupada was there?" I'm like, "No, age gap is huge. I can't be there at that time." But it's just a painting when people, devotees did. Um, and then after that, basically, what used to happen in Gurukul at that time, they did not give transfer certificates for if you want to carry on your education further in other schools. So they only had like an ashram system. So if you went to the Gurukul, there's ashram. So we went to the ashrams, and that was pretty much it. So my parents were concerned about what happened if once I graduate from Gurukul, then how would I carry on my education, further education, because they need this transfer certificate, like what yearly, how much you are qualified, which grade you are qualified to, and then further they can take you on the next grade up. So because of that reason, I had to leave Gurukul, and then I joined outside school from grade 7. I lost a year because 8 years I was in Gurukul, and then I lost a year because they did not take students from grade 8. So I had to go back a year, and so I started school from grade 7. And I was pretty much still involved because Gurukul Vrindavan's home, and Gurukul was pretty much my home because it was not a day school, it's a proper Gurukul at that time. Only Sunday, half a day, you're allowed to meet your family, and pretty much you're with the boys in Gurukul. As you know, you were there for I think a month or so.
No, I was there for a few days.
A few days.
3 days. 3 days, and I was crying every single night. So my parents, Gauri Prabhu was like, "No, it's not gonna work." You must have been there at that time. It was like, it must have been like 97 or 98 or 96 even.
Yeah. I was in Gurukul from 1990.
Right. Wow.
1998, 1999,
Right.
1998.
Before that, why, as a resident of Vrindavan, born in Vrindavan, why did your parents want to put you in that specific Gurukul? I mean, they could have put you anywhere, right?
Yeah. There are two things actually. It was convenience as well. That my uncle, he was a teacher there, so that is a nice school. Just put him in there, and but he started later on, and my mom then became Gurukul teacher. I don't know if many Gurukulis, if you are watching, you probably recognize Kalpana Mataji. She is the longest teacher in the history of Gurukul. 35 years she's been serving Gurukul in the Down Gurukul.
Wow. She's
Um,
still there?
she literally retired last year because her knees are
Wow.
can't take it anymore, because now Gurukul is not in Vrindavan anymore. It's kind of shifted to Ajay, which is a little while ago. So
Right.
a little while from Vrindavan, like 30 kilometers or so.
Mm-hmm.
So the bus goes, so she has to get on the bus and get to Gurukul, and Gurukul campus is quite big also. So then she said, I'll do my service from, from the temple, or from here I won't be able to carry on at Gurukul. But she was the longest ever teacher in Gurukul.
Wow.
And I think that was one of the nicest school in Vrindavan at that time, to be honest. It was, I think it was strict in its own way, but that did good. I wouldn't, there was many issues afterwards. People said this, people said all sorts of things about it. But how I feel is, what it did to me was good. Nothing I like what I am today, and where I am established today by Krishna's mercy, by blessings of Guru Gauranga. It's all been positive for me. And I think also what you take out of the situation matters more than um, you know get affected and kind of get trapped in the same rug, or like this happened, that happened. You have to kind of come out of that concept. I mean, my outside experience was much worse than Gurukul itself.
Wow.
Yeah, so even though it was a day school, Gurukul was a full time, like getting up like 3:30 in the morning till late night. But I still prefer Gurukul at that time. Nowadays, Gurukul is completely different in the sense of it's more academic than spiritual. But at our time, it was very academic, very spiritual. Then we had academic times also, but it was more based on the spiritual, how Srila Prabhupada wanted also.
How many people are you
But
still in contact with from that time?
I would say around 30 to 40, maybe more, 50 of them.
Wow.
I mean, good number of us were all in at the manor. When I went to the manor, like 10, 12 of them are all there. So we were like all back to Gurukul again at the
Right.
manor. So it never felt that you're you're out of the country, and it just felt like Gauri Prabhu is there. He's the principal at the temple, president, and all us were Gurukuli boys. You're back to Gurukul time again.
Wow.
So
So you said
manor was also fun.
So you said you did about 8 years in Gurukul, and then when you went to normal school, was that in India or was that in the UK?
No, well, that was in Vrindavan.
That was in
So
Vrindavan. Okay.
what I did from year 7 to year 12, I did in Vrindavan.
Mhm.
So that was outside school. I mean, outside school were tough. I mean, there was no concept of you can't beat the kids.
Wow.
Even now in Indian school, there's no concept of that. So you can imagine they were like this big sticks, you know, like long ones, bro. And if you misbehave, or you done something wrong, not just in your hands, you get smacks everywhere with the stick. Your bum, your legs, your hands, you name it. So I prefer the Gurukul, man. Gurukul was bathroom cleaning, that's it. You pretty much get off with that. And that was fun anyway.
Right.
We used to do water slides and all sorts. I mean, what the worst situation was, you won't get Mangalarti sweets. Your playtime will get cut off. Your detention would be, you probably have to write one shloka 500 times or something. Um, yeah, or maybe just stand in the corner with your hand raised. For when I compare this to outside school, it's nothing. Like, I mean, even if you boys got few slaps here and there, I mean, considering to schools outside and then regulations outside in India at that time, even now, it's completely different. Completely
Right.
different.
Wow.
So I did my
So then
year 12.
after year 12, then what happened?
So Gauri Prabhu, he was a very close friend of our family, and because he was principal also, he knew my mom because she was teaching in Gurukul. So he's like a family friend of us. He wanted me to come to UK for before year 12 also. And at that time, my parents denied, no, no. I mean, he's still very little. He needs to at least do his university or at least finish off his graduation before he goes to UK. He's just a child at the moment. But Guru used to be very persistent. No, 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 let him come. Because the good, by Krishna's mercy, I kind of got the best of both. Because I was in Gurukul, so I got the hours teachings of Srila Prabhupada and the upbringing of our ISKCON. And at the same time, because my background was belonging from Radharaman Goswami Parkar from my mom's side. Mom's dad he's Vasudev, Shri Vasudev Goswami. He's the Goswami of Radharaman temple. So when summer holidays, we get a turn every 2.5 years for 22 days. So that used to fall at the summer holiday time from Gurukul. So whenever we were on holiday, I used to come home and has to get the training of how we worship Radharamanji, how we cook for it, what the cleaning standards are, and how you need to do all the prayers. Learn Shrimad Bhagavatam from my granddad also. With him, it was again much stricter than Gurukul. He was pretty much very strict on when we had sittings for 14 hours, 15 hours, 18 hours straight. And he only used to give me toilet breaks and eating prasad break. That's it. And you're just sitting all day with me. And he used to sit with me also. It's not that he just said, "Oh, you just sit and you can." And because he used to sit also, that kind of inspired. At the same time, you couldn't get away with it. He's right there. If you kind of gone, you couldn't mess about as well. But because you being a kid, you were only like 4 years old, 4 years of age, 4 year, 5 years. At that time, you're doing intense learning from him also, and you've got Gurukul training at the same time. So, which was now I realize that was beautiful times, but at that time it doesn't seem that way.
Right. What he's so he's your mother's father, and it's like a father son kind of line, like the seminal line all the way back to
Yeah.
the main
Gopal Bhatta Goswami.
original pujaris. Right. Gopal Bhatta Goswami didn't have any
Didn't take
children, right? But
So
he
basically, Gopal Bhatta Goswami gave the deity to Damodar Goswami,
Mhm.
and then from there the lineage began. So
Oh,
he didn't have his lineage himself,
right.
but that's how the lineage came about. So what used to happen, like at that time, there's no specification where 2 generations back also that dad's side of family won't do it or mom's side of family will. As long as you are initiated God Brahman, how even in ISKCON used to happen. As long as you're initiated and you're from that parampara, because the teachings of our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya is that why do we say is my God brother and God sister? Because that does not belong from the bloodline. It actually belongs from what education you got from your
Right.
Guru Parampara. Yeah,
Right.
that's a new beginning. So, but then what happened? There came a point where there were so many disciples or so many Goswamis. How are you going to control all that?
Right.
So then came a system where okay, let's just keep it the bloodline, so at least it's in the. But now, unfortunately, there's a situation where things are turning in a different way. I don't want to go there, but the original intention plan of the sampradaya as internationally or nationally, Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, how Srila Prabhupada also, how our ISKCON functions as well, was that anyone who initiates in the in the family, like again, like Gopal Bhatta Goswami did not have a child, right? So it can't really be a bloodline system.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it's the parampara begins from the initiation. That's how you are connected spiritually.
Yeah.
And this connection is connection with Radharamanji is a spiritual connection, is not a material connection.
Right.
It does make a difference where how you know, the upbringing in the family happens, so you get the benefit of that from the childhood. But again, if you're sincere and if you pick up, then how our ISKCON functions in the same way.
How many families are there that rotate the service?
So there are 45 families, and
45?
yeah,
Wow.
and each family is big. So in each family there are like many members.
Right.
So usually how the seva gets divided is like uh, my granddad, he was uh, granddad's father was two brothers. So if it's 44 days, now they'll get 22 days. And if my granddad were two brothers, then you'll get 11 days. Then like that. So how many kids you have, the seva will get divided based on like that. So more it works like now you have two kids. Your if you had like 40 days, both kids will get 20 days each.
Yeah.
Now your elder child had another two kid, then now his generation will get 10 days. So it kind of gets divided like that. So then there
Now,
are some families who only get for maybe a couple of days, some family get for a longer period of time also.
wow. And when you, for example, when you go there or you see someone you don't know, are you supposed to introduce yourself in the sense of, oh, this my grandfather is so and so, so they know who you are, or everybody knows each other?
Pretty much everyone knows each other.
Yeah.
It's like an extended family. In extended family, there's always family drama as well. So there's
Right.
plenty of that also.
I was gonna ask about that. Right. Right.
So yeah, I mean, but everyone knows pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
Because
And
we kind of, unless you kind of got married and you're off somewhere and like a generation, no one has come back to Vrindavan, and now you kind of, then no one would know. But if you kind of grew up in the same environment, you kind of played with the
right.
same kids all around, you kind of know everyone who's who.
Right. Yeah, I was going to ask also about marriage. Is it to do to do the seva? Do you have to marry someone from Vrindavan, and if you marry someone from out, how does that work?
It's a very tricky question you asked.
So sorry,
Hopefully,
you don't have to answer if you don't want to.
no, I don't. I don't want to. I hope I don't get trouble. I mean, I'll answer it.
Yeah.
But what happens? There was a time where, as long as it's a Brahminical family,
Right.
it doesn't necessarily have to be from Vrindavan. As long as the family and the gotras are in line, as a Brahminical family and the gotras are in line, then you can marry. But the new generation is seeing things differently, doing things a little
Yeah.
differently. So now things are going in a direction. But at least what I would say proudly, that the worship of Radharani, still the sanctity of the worship, and the offering, the kitchen, the cleanliness, and the standard is still being maintained.
Mm-hmm. And how come it's that some of the families are more prominent than the other? Like, for example, we know like Prabhupada had a relationship with like Vishwambar Goswami, and his son is, I think, Padmanabh Goswami, and so that line we hear more about than, for example, someone else. Is there a reason that one is more prominent than the other? And whoever's listening from Radharaman Temple, like, I am just fascinated and interested about the way things work. I don't mean to be offensive in any way. I just am very interested about it.
So basically, the way thing it's not about who's prominent and who's not. Everyone's Goswami. Everyone's
Right.
has the rights to worship Srila Radharamanji. Everyone has. There's a committee in the Radharaman temple also. It's called the Panch, and that gets voted within the family. So it's a rotation system. Who voted, like the ruling, kind of like how we have GBC.
Yeah.
Like that, they have a we have a body where the family members who's going to be in power for the next few years, who's going to make the decisions, and who's going to. But in terms of who's more popular and who's not, it's only based on, I would say, if someone has got more public in terms of their social life, they became more prominent in terms of people got to know them more.
Right.
And who stayed in and they did their own sadhana or whatever that may be, or they didn't want it to be out in the public open eye, then they kind of stayed a bit more in the background. So and again, also there's some of the Goswamis, they are very politically strong also, financially very strong also.
Mm.
That kind of also has an impact where you're recognized, how you recognized in society, right? If I was driving a Nissan, I would be recognized differently. If I was driving a BMW, I would be recognized differently. That's the way how world works today, you know?
Yes.
Um,
Anyways, yeah.
so yeah, so like that, there are some Goswamis were known more because of their, influence in social media or in the public.
Right. So when Gauri Prabhu called you over to the UK, how was that
Yeah.
experience shifting from India, for many, many years, and then a brand new country?
Yes. For me, I think I don't know if you remember Saurav. Do you know
Of
Saurav?
course. Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Saurav and I, we kind of came together.
Oh,
We
that's
we
good.
we actually were in the same class from 3.5 years of age. We did it the same ashram. We grew up to kind of together, and then he carried on at the gurukul, and I did our school outside, but I was still involved in gurukul. So after my year 12, I enrolled myself into a university in Vrindavan, opposite the temple, the one Maharaj College.
Oh, cool.
And I carried on working in the gurukul as I was helping in accounts. That time, Anand Vrindavan Mataji, she was principal at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so when Gauri Prabhu said we were applying for visas and we were applying for, we kind of, we didn't know if we were going to get it or not, but we both went together for the visa. And at that time, I think we were 16, 16 and a half, coming up to 17 year of age. And we're still teenagers, we were nothing like, there's no beer coming out or anything like that. So we went and we gave the interview. And at that time, what used to happen nowadays, they let you know afterwards if you got the visa or not. But at that time, they used to let you know on the spot. So we got to know on the spot. We got the visa, and we were so excited that Saurav and I were like, how should we celebrate? And we were wearing dhoti, kurta, tilak, and everything. And at that time, I shouldn't probably say this. I'm probably going to get in trouble for it. But at that time, there was a new movie had just come out in the theaters, and we said, let's we just go watch a movie, and and we said, okay, let's just go. So it was halfway through the movie. We still went in and we watched we didn't know what to do. And it was midday, so we couldn't go to the temple, the Delhi temple. It was closed and everything. So we just went.
Yeah.
And when we came out from the cinema, everyone we were probably more entertaining than the movie itself. They were like looking at like these pundits. They're watching a movie, where they in dhoti and kurta. That was embarrassing, man. But I mean, being in India is not like dhoti kurta is not rare, like it's not like in the West you'll only see ISKCON devotees wear dhoti kurta, but being in India, you see a lot of devotees. There are different sampradayas, different varnas, and a lot of people just wear their normal clothing as dhoti kurta as an Indian wear,
Yeah.
But still, I don't know, for some reason we just everyone just were looking at it. Let's go, let's just go.
It's funny that you remember that. That must have been a very
Yeah,
impactful kind of experience.
yeah. I mean, since then, I mean, whenever I did go to a cinema, I made sure I did not wear dhoti kurta.
Funny.
So yeah, then we got the tickets. It was exciting. The time we were, I mean, for us, it was we going to a different country. I don't know what's the weather going to be like, what the situation's going to be like. We've never been. Even though we knew we were in a safe environment, we're going to, in the production of Gori Prabhu, and the family knew him and everything. But family still worries because it's not. I myself I'm the only son of the family. So in India, if you are the only son, you have a lot more pressure, and the family kind of sees it in a different way. That is he going to be safe, or what if something happens to him? Who's going to look after us in the old age? Maybe they're not even thinking that far, but they just wanted to be. They're probably concerned in this for the safety. How it's going to be. So yeah, I mean, we went to the airport. Soros' family was there. We flew into UK as well together. I think now he's initiated his from Kadam Kana Maharaj, and he's known as Vaishnav Acharya.
Right.
And so we kind of at the airport went through all the family drama with the tilak and the crying, and both they were doing their family. His family was doing his bit. My family was doing my crying in my bed, with the tilak, the Indian whole Bollywood scene.
Yeah.
None of that. That would be too much, man.
Yeah, right.
That would have been like the movie scene. But yeah, and then and we came, and the very first experience at the manor, they had this taxi guy, um, Mark, and he had this Mercedes, and he used to use that for picking up devotees from the airport and all. And as soon as we walk out of the airport, and Saurav and I, we were just waiting for like who's I don't know who. I mean, we don't know. We just come out of the airport and we had no clue like where to go. We had the address on piece of paper, but we didn't know. We didn't know the system, how to. We were only teenagers. We didn't know how the Google Maps is gonna work or how. And we were from Vrindavan, not from high tech city or anything. We grew up in like playing mud fights in Yamuna, like probably jumping and catching turtles in Kusum Sarovar. Um,
What year was
so,
this when you landed in UK?
2005.
Wow.
Yeah. And when this guy devotee, we saw a devotee with dhoti, and we knew that must have been our ride. And we said, Haribo, we came to pick up. Oh yeah. Gaurav, Saurav, and yes. And we took our bags. We came to the where the parking is. As soon as we saw Mercedes, we were like, whoa, look at that, That's like a VIP treatment. And we went to the manor, and as soon as we got to the manor, devotees they kept Mahaprasad from the deities, because by the time we arrived, it was quite late, and as majority of the temples evening prasad is not really evening prasad, so devotees get Mahaprasad, or they do their own thing at the temple. Evening is usually milk and muri or some muffins or something like that. But we were hungry, and we were big eaters at that time. So we needed prasad. So also being in Gurukul didn't help either. Gurukul is eating competition, and it's to stuff ourselves properly, like pizzas, 5, 6 pizzas. One guy is eating. I don't know. There were boys with us, like Jagmohan and all these guys. Half a bucket of pasta these guys used to eat.
Wow.
So when we came, we got these big paha plates with prasad. We were like, yeah, this is. I think we came to the right place here.
Yeah.
We had prasad, and the weather was very nice. We didn't. It was like a summery, April. April for them. Then we saw everyone was wearing like hoodies. I'm like, it's not that cold. I don't know why is everyone wearing hoodie. We kind of wore half t-shirt and dhoti. Because we were used to Vrindavan Gurukul, we used to majority of the time wear dhoti and put t-shirt on top of dhoti,
Yeah.
So we just put t-shirts on, put dhoti on. We're just seeing the ground, see what's what, because corridor was gonna meet us the next day. So we had still the evening with us. And we just roaming the street and the grounds. Manor is beautiful, and many devotees know the manor. But devotees who don't know the manor grounds amazing. It's a beautiful temple. Now they've built a haveli and so much more.
Yeah.
It's built in an 80-acre land given by George Harrison. The temple itself from
Yeah.
Beatles. It's a beautiful place. I loved it. And devotees were like, these guys are gonna catch cold, Like they just kind of came straight from India, and they think the weather, the cold in India and cold in UK is a little different. Um,
Yeah.
so then our UK journey began. The next day we had meeting with Gauri Prabhu, and then we saw all the Gurukuli boys as well, like Yogi, Yogesh, Kamal, Arjun, all of them. And we were like back at home, back in Gurukul, like who's gonna get. And even in the Brahmachari ashram, we had a room, the boys' room, like Gurukuli boys' room, and it was like pretty much like Gurukul, there were bunk beds. Who's going to be at the top? Who's going to be at the bottom? You fight for that. Um, uh, but because that Gurukuli boys, that room was already full, so we stayed with the Brahmacharis for some time. And then one year we did a program where we were in each department for a month. So one year we spent like that together. Saurav and I, we were working in like one month in data department, 1 month in the fundraising department, 1 month in the Goshala, 1 month in like the kitchen area, the one like that, like Gurukul. So we kind of know the whole system, how everything is functioning. And somehow we kind of went there for a year. Our plan was to go there for a year and then we see how it goes, because my plan was to come back and carry on. Because I didn't finish my university. After year 12, I went, and my parents really wanted me to finish university. So I kind of filled the form in, like distance learning from India itself. But I filled a regular form. You didn't really have to go, and they did, we knew the teachers and everything. So they were like, yeah, okay, no, just come for the exams. As long as you're good in the exams, then we'll let you off. So so I had to come back within the year when the exams came. So I came back, did the exam. Then obviously the devotees over there, they really liked both of us, and they really liked the way we were, Gurukuli boys. I mean, you're not going to go wrong. We have gone through everything in Gurukul already,
Right.
from training to fights to you name it, we have done it. So we were pretty much all rounders, from kirtans to kitchen, you name you put us anywhere, we'll find a place.
Wow. So you did that for 14 years. You stayed in the UK.
UK, yes, UK. I stayed there 14 years, but Bhaktivedanta Manor, I stayed 7 years.
Right. Wow.
Did my education when I was staying at the manor also. Did accountancy. I did my education in the UK, and at the same time, I did my university in India. So I graduated in India. I used to come back every year for my exams. Finished my university, then did my masters in India also. So MCom, masters in commerce, and then I carried on my education in UK also whilst I was at the manor. So did my accountancy, and I worked there as a voluntary. We used to get our allowance, laundry allowance, or for your soaps and toothpaste and whatnot.
Right. Right.
We used to save all of that, to be honest. Instead of washing the laundry in the machine, we used to do hand wash. We were used to from the Gurukul itself,
Yeah.
and we used to save that Lakshmi.
So overall experience at the manor was really good and positive, and
oh yeah. I mean, the community over there is very good, very big. The congregation over there, and they treated us like family, and
yeah.
especially all us boys, because they were pretty much like our mothers, like Krishna Purna Mataji, and there were many Matajis over there, and they were very much close community. Tulsi was there at that time also, so we were pretty
Right.
much part of the Janmashtami team. The
Yeah.
Janmashtami there is huge, so we were working till midnight, and next day we would start again early. So it was a beautiful environment. I mean, if I could go back, I would definitely go back to those days.
Wow.
Work
I
was
had
not.
no.
Sorry,
Go
go ahead.
ahead. Yeah.
I mean, even though it was hard work, but it was more fun. You looked at the fun end of things than the how much work you're putting in.
Sure. In any kind of association, you do something. If it's good association, it is friends, then you could do anything. You could survive anything.
Yeah,
I had a really great
yeah,
experience. I lived in the UK for 2 years. You were there at the time, and
yeah.
I absolutely loved it. I really plugged into a lot of services and a lot of devotees. If I could go back there, I would. It's very expensive. It's just too expensive.
Yeah,
I can't buy a house. I can't like I can here, in the US. It's weird.
yeah. It is. Yeah. I mean, till you don't realize that till you move out.
Yeah.
Till you have the manner, you're fine. As soon as you move out, you realize, oh my God,
Yeah.
uh,
So you got a job and you eventually you left the manor and you just
yeah.
lived there.
So basically, yeah. When I finished my education in the UK, also I qualified as accounts, and then I got my education from India also. Then I got an accountancy job in a IBS group. It was a they had a license for all the stadiums in UK, so they used to do merchandising and event management for all the Wembley Stadium, Twickenham Stadium, all the stadiums. So all the games, all the concerts, all the tea in the park, Wembley, or download festivals, all the. So it was like a huge shift for me, to be honest,
Mm,
because if you think about it, like I grew up in Gurukul, like it was a spiritual environment again, and it's not like from Gurukul when you go home, your home is like a karmi kind of environment, so you're kind of used to it. My home environment is much more stricter spiritually than Gurukul itself.
right.
So then you kind of, I got my Brahman thread at the age of 7,
Mm.
and that was like a 3 day ceremony. And I had to fast for 3 days and do yagya and everything else without water. You can imagine 7-year-old 3 day with giving him water, and he's doing yagyas every day. Then you put a coupon on him and you say, okay, now you go back, beg arms in Vrindavan. It, half the time, like some of the people will call that child abuse, man. But but that's what it is. So our home spiritual environment was very strong. Also, the teachings, the Srimad Bhagavatam teachings, Chaitanya Charitamrita teaching, and all the granthas, the Vyakaran, the Sanskrit grammar, and everything. And then you go to the manor, which is also a spiritual environment. Because Gauri Prabhu, he pretty much wanted me there for actually congregation preaching, because I had like the training from Gurukul and training from my family also. So I used to do a lot of youth programs and do sanghas, used to give classes there also, seminars, presentations. From then because 1 year we did all the department, then I shifted to a department called BMF over there. Then we served at the BMF department, this Foundation. And every night we were doing pretty much programs, at least 3 nights, 4 nights a week, late nights. So we either giving classes, we doing sanghas or group gatherings, or I was. So prasad was amazing every night, because in the brahmachari ashram, brahmacharis are only getting muffins and milk, and muri and milk, and every day we are getting chili paneer and you name it. So we were doing all right.
Yeah.
And like that, you built a huge community around you also, because you're serving them, and if they have any questions, because I was counseling from very young age with my granddad also. He was a great scholar also. He was at the age of 19, he was a principal of a Sanskrit university.
Wow.
He worked for the government, and he was the only Vyakaranacharya at his time. Even in Radharaman Goswami family, he was one of the most knowledgeable person. And his father, Srila Rasabihari Goswami, he was one of the most knowledgeable in the whole of state at that time.
Wow.
So any shastra art or any people used to come from different part of the world to do shastra art. So they used to do with him, and not many devotees know about this, but Srila Prabhupada ji, when my granddad was young, from Srila Bhakti Ras Bihari Goswami, they used to discuss the Rasi Leela pastimes from Srimad Bhagavatam, like
Wow.
how we should go about it, how we should sing it. Because Ras Bihari Goswami, my great grandfather, he was very quiet in that sense. He wasn't a very public person. But again, in India, they say there are two sevas. How are we doing for time? I just want
We're
to
doing
know.
okay. We're doing okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So in Vrindavan, they say the two ways of serving the Lord. One is bhog, the other one is rag. Rag is the traditional singing of the classical singing many people know as. And when these people, even today, they are still alive who have witnessed this, that many people, when he used to sing Julan Rag, you know, Lord Radharaman's swing is actually quite big. It's a silver swing. So if you swing it, then only then it will swing. It's a heavy swing. But they have witnessed that when he used to sing Julan Rag, he used to swing on its own.
Wow.
So that's the power of Rag, you know. We hear these stories like, there's when you sing Rag, the rain can come or the divas will lit up.
Right.
But these are not made up stories. The energy of Rag has strength in it. If it's sung properly, if it's sung with that traditional riyaz, with the practice and everything. So because of all those trainings, my granddad used to take me to when he used to do kathas, he used to do Bhagavad Saptas in Jaipur. All the Goswamis from Govind Dev Ji in Jaipur are my granddad's disciples.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So my granddad has around 2,000 disciples.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Is he still around?
Last year he left his,
Wow. Just last year. How old was he?
he was 89.
Wow. And how many children did your grandfather have?
One.
Okay.
But he was very much close to my mother actually, and he didn't wanted my mom to get married. He actually wanted my mom to kind of get the spiritual education and carry on in spirituality further. But then the society and everything else, how how it works in India. Then she got married. That's why I'm here.
Right.
Otherwise, I won't be existing, and that podcast won't be happening.
Right.
But
So fast forwarding a little bit, how was the experience going from that, like you said, all that devotional atmosphere to then now living on your own?
Yeah. So now from that, now I'm shifted to this company. Good that you're doing that actually, because there's so much to tell. I'll just go from one place to another.
Yeah, I have to kind of rein you in a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you can imagine all your life you're listening to kirtan, you're doing kathas, or you're doing seminars, or you're dealing with spirituality. Now all of a sudden you're in an environment where you're going, you're managing concerts of Beyonce, Rihanna, you're doing download hard rock metal festivals. And I was like, what is this? Like it was a completely different world altogether. And you just see these teenagers, they're crazy after them. Especially the rock festival kind of got my head a little, because it's actually the punk festival of the UK. They're all punks there. Everyone is like either their hair spiked or they're like blue, purple, green, and they got piercings everywhere, like nose going across, ears, eye, you name it. And their music is also hard metal. You have no clue. There's no rag to it. There's no rhythm to it. I mean, they probably for them must be, but I had no clue like what rhythm they're singing in.
Right.
And half the time they're singing, and then all of a sudden, God knows what happened. They put their guitar on fire and they smash it on the floor. I'm like, bro, this is ecstasy or something. So
it was a culture shock.
then, Yeah, complete culture shock, completely cut. And but then the managers and my manager, she wasn't married. She was a lady, and she was a German lady, nearly 55, 60, and she was proper German. Yeah. And at the temple and at the devotee, something goes wrong, and like, oh, Prabhu, don't, it's okay,
Yeah.
or it's like, you let go things because it's a learning phase or whatever it may be. But then straight away you go under a boss who's not a normal boss either. He's a proper hardcore German boss. Like, she had an eye to detail, man. I tell you, like, even a small dot, she like, in this, why that? And I was like, okay. I mean, so I think the spirituality helped a lot, actually, because I used to see that in a different angle altogether. Like, and I used to see, sometimes I used to see and look at them and see, like, she's working like 18, 19 hours a day. Not even like she has no family life, no nothing, just working. What for? I mean, there's no goal to it. I mean, just work, and then you go and you drink and you smoke, and then you come back and you work again. And
Yeah.
I didn't see the point. But anyway, I mean, I had to pay the bills, and I had to, I was renting a place. I stayed in a bhakti center,
Hmm.
uh, and I started working. And very quickly, I had one of my managers was also a South Indian, Sri Lankan guy, Ruben. So he was a nice chap. So we kind of got together, flew things very nicely, and it went together very nicely, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um,
And what prompted you to, after 14 years in the UK, leave the UK? Because I want to leave time to discuss your project.
that's the charity. Yeah.
Yeah. So the
So
project is called Love Braj, and tell us about the inception of that.
Leverage Foundation. So basically, from one more thing in the UK, I changed my career
Yeah. Yeah.
from
Oh,
my
you did?
accountancy to yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
what happened? Like, accountancy, I was working for royalties and settlement in the UK, and then it was only. Do you see this? Here's this banging.
Yeah, I do hear it.
Uh,
You can tell them to stop. It's okay.
it's India, man. I don't know what to do.
Oh, it's like someone next door or something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Whatever. If you don't have control over it, then.
Yeah. So basically, when I was staying in Bucky Center, one of the friends, he was a quantity surveyor, which is a QS. And he said, "Why don't you change your career to quantity surveyor, which will have a better career opportunity also, and a better growth." So I changed my career. I did a little bit more education outside, and then changed my career to quantity surveying, which is what we do. We price up commercial properties, and then we estimate, and based on that, the loans and banks and loans are issued.
Is
So
it
I
like
got
an
that license.
is it like an appraiser?
No, it's like after engineer's drawing, you kind of estimate the project, how much it's going to be,
Oh, I see. I see. Okay.
and based on your estimation, the bank will issue the loan, and then you tell the bank, and in what installments how much Lakshmi is required for the project,
Oh, okay.
and then you kind of involved till the end of the project, because then you tell your estimation and then the real time estimation cost. So if the cost needs to go a little higher or a little low, you're in touch with the bank and the client at the same time. You're like you tell them at the bank, you need to issue a little bit more or issue a little bit less for the next lot, or maybe need a lot more machinery or labor or whatnot. So
That
we do
sounds
all
like
that calculation.
a lot of pressure.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. But one of my friend, he's also a QS. He's a Punjabi lad, and he's in the UK at the moment. So that's how we are functioning. So my
Uh-huh.
livelihood still comes from UK.
Right.
So I do the pricing up from here, and he does this managing the sites over there.
Oh, wow.
So because 14 year has gone away, and I mean, I was pretty much settled there. I asked my parents, why don't you come to UK, and everything is here and everything. So my mom said one thing, uh, beta, all my life I've lived in Vrindavan,
Yeah.
and this age I don't want to leave.
Right.
And I mean, you can't argue with that, can you?
No, it's a Dom. You can't. No.
Yeah.
Your mother, it's
And
the
I was
Dham.
um, and for me also, I originally came to UK for a year, and the year went to 2 to 3 to 14, and I kind of realized, maybe my Vanvas is over, the 14-year
Mm,
Vanvas. So I think it's about this time that I
right.
come back, because the thing is, if I hadn't moved back by then, maybe I would have not been able to move back ever.
Mm.
Yeah, we kind of get so settled in with the comforts of a lifestyle, and pretty much is a huge chunk of your life. Your youth is gone, so you put a lot of energy into your career and everything, and then you're moving back. And then my main worry was, what am I going to do if I move back? So one of the reasons was changing my career, because QS is something I can do remotely, whereas accountancy I wouldn't be able to. So that's why I also shifted my career, and now I'm in Vrindavan. Um,
What does QS stand for again?
Quantity surveying.
Quantity surveying. So you get basically sent like a big like drawing, and then based upon that drawing, you do an analysis of that.
So basically, we calculate. So say, for example, there's a basement and first floor, second floor, third floor. We even tell like what strength of concrete would be required in the basement, what strength of concrete would be required on the ground floor. Based on that, what's the costing of that concrete is coming, and how much it will be used, what volume it would be used. Then that all calculation is then given back to the government and the banks. So they see all that calculation, and once we have signed the those papers, then the bank issue the loan.
So
So
you
we are
give the
a key,
you give
yeah,
the
we are a key part.
recommendation.
Yeah, no, we are a key part. Without our approvals, bank will not issue the funds.
Wow.
Yeah,
So you have to know what kind of concrete is going to go in the basement.
yeah. So like C35, C32, like different strength of concrete for
Wow.
different places. What strength, what steel. So it's a calculate, because I had already had a accounting background. It wasn't a difficult thing for me to pick this up also.
Right, right.
Um, and so it was fairly, I mean, a little bit difficult in the time, but fairly easy, because I worked for a company called Subtech in construction, and they used to work for central London, all the pavements underground and everything for the tunnel, railway tunnels, pinning, and all of that. They used to do that kind of work, big projects, and work for them. So I was the operational engineer, and at the same time the QSing for them. Then I started my own company in the UK together with a friend. And then what we did, we used to only take the huge clients, and what we started doing, the smaller clients that he knew didn't take on, we took them on and we gave him a cut, and we advertised ourselves on his website, so he didn't mind, because he was getting a percentage out of it anyway.
Wow,
So
that's
that's how we
great.
started our clientele. No, we Krishna's Mercy, we're doing okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's the dream life, to live in. I mean, but you're a
Mm.
resident of Vrindavan, but live in Vrindavan and work remotely is I hear so
Yeah,
many people want to do that, but you went back to your roots, okay? Like that's where your
yeah,
parents are from, that's where your grandparents are
yeah,
from. So,
yeah.
and then tell us about Love Braj Foundation.
So while Labra's Foundation was established, actually, we started working when I was in 2006. Back in those days, when I used to come, we used to help out, we used to help the projects and the devotees. So what we thought then, why don't we register this with the government? So in 2009, we registered it with the local government, with the in
Yeah.
Mathura, the courts. And we started with the very first project, the chest clinic. So there were a lot of people who needed medical support at that time, who couldn't um, pay the cost of the medication. And what was happening, um, the the cost was lot more than what they were earning was for the month. So either they can pay their medication or they can feed their family. And in India, how it works, not everyone doesn't work. One person works and the whole family survives on that.
Hmm.
So there was a doctor. He's a very well-known doctor, and he was part. We got him to be the part of the team. So he used to do every Sunday. We started off as a free camp, and we started in the beginning. We only had 13 patients who used to come, and then slowly the number grew, and it came to 150 to 200 patients on a day. But we couldn't cope with that much medication or that much support. So any charity, to run a charity, you need you need funds, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we were coming to a point like, if we cannot cope with that, what's next? So we went to companies directly who were providing medication, and they actually gave medication on cost price. They actually stamped on the medications for our charitable work and everything. So we got the medication on cost price, and it helped us quite a bit. Um, then when I was in the UK, I kind of realized that a lot of devotees, they come to Vrindavan, but somehow, you know, Vrindavan is still also part of the material world, even though it's a spiritual place, but still part of the material world. We shouldn't forget that.
Right.
So there are so many mishappenings that, as it happens around the world, can happen in Vrindavan. But over the time, it has kind of attracted a lot more people for in Vrindavan in the wrong motive than spirituality, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it became very difficult to kind of understand who should we trust and who shouldn't we trust
Yeah.
when we come into Vrindavan. So it started to become a very unsafe place, and especially for girls traveling on their own. If there's elderly parents, they want to come by themselves, or there's someone who's disabled, or in any situation. So whenever I used to hear devotees come back from Vrindavan, I said, how was it? This, that, this?" Because I'm from Vrindavan, I'm for there, so I always wanted to know what their feedback was, what they thought, and everything. It's just a natural thing. And there was always something negative, like, oh, this rickshaw guy did this, this taxi guy did this, or this hotel guy did this, or I had this experience which wasn't very pleasant. Is the dham, I understand, but this happened. So then I thought, like, what should we do? Like, we should do something that the devotees get service in Vrindavan, in a safe environment, which is a trustworthy platform, and it's open for everyone. Yeah. So that's how we started Labra services. So what happened when I came to Vrindavan? The whole structure was in a way that Labra services will work as a professional body. Like, before you even come, we send you your itinerary quotation, how much the trip is going to cost you. So it's not like, oh, Prabhuji, I didn't expect this, like how it happens in many places.
Right.
Or they'll send you a different bill, and when you come here, is a different bill altogether.
Mm.
The taxis, make sure the taxi drivers are all police checked or like trustworthy people, our guides. So from the whole service is the concierge service, like how in Vegas they do.
Mhm.
So like that, we said let's start that for Vrindavan. So
Nice.
anything, literally anything you want, from yatras to groups to offerings to you want to get married in Vrindavan, you want to do ceremonies, you want to do samskaras, you just want to have a trip, you want to bring a group. Uh, like in a month's time, like Radhika Ranjan Prabhu from UK, his group is coming. So each evening we're doing programs at different places. So it's a stress-free place. If you're coming with your kids, you don't know if just in case they get ill, the doctor facility is there because you don't know where to take them, which doctor to take them, and how that's going to work. So everything is, we said we'll take care of everything, all the logistics, and whatever profit we generate from that, that then will run the charity.
Wow.
So in the charity itself, we had many programs like Make Vrindavan Green Again. That's one of the projects, right?
I'm
So
just
people
gonna
are
pull
all,
up the website so we can, while we're talking, we can see the um what you're talking about here. Just give me a second
yeah,
here. So this is lovebrudge.com, and this is the services part of the website. So this is what you were talking about earlier regarding
yeah,
the concierge service. So plan an event, facilitate spiritual retreats, yatras, and activities, and you tailor your own experience. So you were saying that the profit from the revenue from this goes to
there's a social initiatives, if you look at that, yeah, just like that. So all the profit then it goes to all these projects.
Wow. Animal care.
So we have an animal care center, which is the very first animal care center in Vrindavan, where we're treating all the animals of Braj, not just cows. Like there's a lot of population of peacocks which has declined over the years. Because when I was
Wow.
little, Vrindavan had so many peacocks. Now only 10% of peacock population is left. And
Why is that? Where did they go?
so, I mean, we have cut down all the forests to start off with.
Right.
And secondly, the monkey population has increased massively. So the monkeys don't love the when the peacocks hatch eggs, they take them,
Oh.
and when the babies are little, um, the dogs kind of grab them. And the other issue is when the farmers they plow field, they put termite killers and all of that in there. So when peacocks have them, it's poison for them. So
Oh
sometimes
my
they
gosh.
die of poison. So
Right.
we last year we did a lot of peacocks from that poison itself. So this animal care center is for peacocks, birds, parrots, squirrels, cows, everyone. So it's an in-house treatment. We have a center. So um, till they are fixed, they stay in the center, and once they're recovered, we let them free back in the forest, in the foresty environment. So
Right.
that's one project. The other one is make Vrindavan green again, the plantation program. Um, so if we just quickly go through the, like
Yeah.
make Vrindavan green again, that's the plantation one. Don't mess with Vrindavan. That's I use the spelling mess purposely that way because people are messing with it,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the cleaning program. We have a chest clinic that's been running for a while. Then the dental care at the bottom. Give a Future is the educational program. If someone wants to sponsor a child in Vrindavan, or instead of opening up school, we have plenty of schools already. So we take a child, we put them in a nice school, and we give them education for people who haven't really seen school. Krishna's
So you
Cow
connect.
project is for the.
So you
Sorry,
connect.
you can
You
sponsor.
connect with a school, and then the money that's donated for that it goes to a student
Their
in that
fee.
school.
Yeah, for their fee, for the stationery, their whatever the school requirement is, we pay for their whole thing.
Uh-huh.
We have Krishna's Cow, that's for the cows on the street who are struggling
Right.
specifically. And then we have other programs also. These are main our running programs. So many programs, what we did in the COVID time also, especially, a lot of people passed away. And
Mm-hmm.
because of COVID, no people were not willing to even cremate them. So they were just lying on the street.
Oh my gosh.
So we were actually helping people with rations, we were helping with prasad, we were helping with medication, with oxygen, to the point we used to get people to the cremation grounds and cremate them. There were times where just myself and another guy, another friend of mine, just both of us used to just go and cremate the guy.
Wow.
No one was willing to touch even,
Mm-hmm.
Then we did a special program for mothers and infants also at that time, COVID time, because they were struggling quite a bit. But, because all the hospitals they were full with COVID patients or everything. So mothers and infants they didn't have any medical care or or any support. So we were giving support to them. Then if anyone wants to do prashads for Brajvasis or get Brajvasi girl married, widow or
Wow.
elderly care as well. So these are all basically what the whole idea is, that to plug in into areas where is actually needed. Then
Sure. Yeah.
because even giving donation has different modes. If you just give donation, okay, I just gave donation, but that so feeding someone who's already full is no point. So so if you actually gave prasad to someone who's really hungry and who really needs it, it has a different consciousness to it, and
Yeah.
it's always
So
nice to give to a seed.
yeah, so I want to just connect. I just want to remind people. So the concierge service that you may take a part of, like if you need a taxi or you want to have a tour or you want to bring a group or you want to have a retreat or you want to have a wedding or whatever it is, all that money that you're donating for that concierge service goes to these services that are actually helping Vrindavan in so many different ways. I mean, I thought there was only a few, but there's actually so many things. These the cows, the green again, the chest clinic, the dental clinic, animal care. This was one of the first ones in Vrindavan. That's a fantastic idea. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, you are going to take service from someone anyway. It's
Right.
not that you
Exactly.
know.
Yeah.
So you're gonna pay someone. So with us, you have two benefits. Actually, three. You are on a safe platform. You can trust a platform where it's a safe ground. Like, you get a proper service, high quality service,
Yeah.
and the profit from that is going to a good cause. Then, buying someone's alcohol maybe, or whatnot.
Yeah.
And local people who actually need, are decent people, are getting jobs from it.
Hmm.
So it's kind of creating a, because majority of the time what used to happen, like, oh, one of my godbrother's friend is there in Vrindavan, just call him, he'll book up the taxi, he'll arrange something for you. So in that, what used to happen, um, if he's sick, then you're stuck, or if he's gone somewhere else, or the taxi didn't turn up. Whereas with the platform, if I'm there or not, is, things are running. You send an email, everything is functioning automatically. So
Yeah.
it's a safe platform. And the benefit from that, any charitable organization you look, so regardless which organization is, so when you donate to that organization, healthy chunk of the donation goes into the admin cost of any charity.
Hmm.
But whereas with us, uh, what happens, because our admin is already covered with these services that we are providing. So if you donate something, your donation 100% goes to the cause directly. So that's the added benefit you get.
Wow.
We have
And
also got an office now,
uh-huh.
right next to MVT. ISKCON, right next to ISKCON on the MVT street, known as the Braj office. We got a store here also. So again, the concept of the store is non-profit. So any sale that we make in the store, again, will go back, uh, recycles back in Braj, helping with all
Wow.
these projects.
Wow.
So this is the very first store like that in Vrindavan where it's non-profit.
Right. That's great. I remember when I last came to Vrindavan and we met, you were telling me something about a place where they might put all the monkeys. That's a forest area. Uh,
Yeah,
is that something that's still happening? I think government was doing that. I'm just fascinated by that
yeah.
idea. Is that still happening?
My, I'll just say one line. It's government's project.
Right.
It's an Indian government's project.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So it will take its time, and God,
Right.
I don't know how much, but I don't know
Hmm.
what the situation is going to be, but it's in the pipeline for many years, and how many years is going to be still in the pipeline, I have no idea. But situation is getting a bit intense with the monkeys actually. Population is increasing by the day.
Yeah. Interesting. So, and then tell us about this, the next few tabs here, Brudge Evening.
Yeah. So the raag concept I was telling you about.
Yeah, yeah.
So now because the whole idea is that when I do something, I always think that we need to do it in a way that helps something overall, right? It kind of saves Braj culture. It kind of promotes the local culture, and it will help the charitable organization. So the whole idea, because a lot of friends of mine, they are in the when I was studying Srimad Bhagavatam from my granddad, they were learning rag from their grandparents. They are from like the gharanas. When we say gharanas, do you know what gharanas mean? Like a
Mm,
lineage of singing.
yes,
So like
yes.
many lineage of just singing of classical rags have come. Um, so uh, the whole idea was that what was happening in the process of TikToks or quick kirtan, like kirtan is amazing, but at the same time, rag is a different part of the culture of grudge, which is also very important to save. because back in the days, what used to happen is like when in each temple the rag used to be sung to the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
For his Shangar rag, Julan rag, holy rag, like different rags, Julan rag. These all rags used to be sung. So what used to happen? Uh, shall I? I don't know how I can coordinate with you. There's a YouTube channel as well called the Love Braj. In there are all the clippings of rag. You can get an idea how that rag functions also.
Yeah, we can put that
Um,
in the comments when this airs.
yeah. So what happens then? The whole idea of the evening that we got a ticket where we will be presenting a rag and give you prasad. So prasad
Mhm.
again in Vrindavan, you go to any place, there's no place you can get prasad from any restaurant which is cooked on wood fire, like traditionally chula roti and made by hand, the sabji and everything,
Wow. Yeah.
served in a Braj culture.
Mhm.
So the pictures you're seeing on the website down here. This is the animal care center. We have
Mhm.
done it in a way that it also hosts these. So the whole mood is like the traditional. It will take you back how Vrindavan used to be, like candlelights, very dull, and then the rag singing of
Wow.
each rags of the different rag. The devotee who sings the rag is from the Gharanas. Each instrument, each evening is different, and he'll explain. He'll be see the way that he says, "I'm singing this rag, and this is the pastime of the Lord." He'll say, "Now Krishna is going to go sing."
Mhm. I think something's running out of batteries. It might be your headphones because I'm hearing a lot of static.
Mm, this is
No?
okay.
Oh, no, that's good now.
Is
Oh,
it
no, I'm hearing it again.
now okay?
Yeah, I think it's good now. So, okay, then moving on to Prasad Seva.
So again, just let me quickly finish that, and then what happens that ticket from that will runs the animal care center. So
Right.
basically, it's the event that give you uplifts the culture, rag singing and prasad and everything, gives
Mhm.
you a whole experience of Vrindavan, and then the profit of that runs our animal care center.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's kind of win-win situation. The prasad seva is quite. This is actually we started this in COVID time, to be honest, and many devotees uh, really appreciated that. So I'll actually have a flyer here. I'm not sure if you can see. Can you see
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, we can see that.
So basically, what we have done in that is, shall I put it up again?
Yeah, do it again. There you go. Delivered to your home.
Yeah. So basically, this is a service that one from all the ghost temples, yeah, and the ghost itself. And
Your mic's going out again, Gaurav. Uh, I don't know why I'm hearing a lot of static.
is it now? Or is it okay now?
No, it was okay, and then I mean it's okay when you don't speak, and then when you start speaking, it's like getting really it like clicks a lot.
How about now?
Yeah, now is okay, but let's see when you start speaking,
I
it
don't know
might
what's
start.
happening. I actually got this new, you know, head like what do you call? I don't know
Yeah,
what do you call them,
Bluetooth
but yeah,
Bluetooth
yeah,
headphones.
Bluetooth thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, Bluetooth headphones, especially for this podcast, man.
So, oh, see when you speak, it starts clicking. That's weird. Um,
Okay, shall I just get the headphone with the lead? That's probably better.
with the lead, yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
Yeah, just one
let's do
second.
that.
Just 1 second, just 1 second.
No problem, no problem.
चलो लीड दे दो मेरे को हेडफोन वाली ये खराब हो रहा है जल्दी जल्दी मेरे को लीड दे दो मेरे बैग में रखिए हेडफोन
So this Love Brudge Foundation is just great. I used it recently for my elderly parents who are in Vrindavan. They had a very smooth time getting picked up at the airport. The guy came with a sign with their name on it. He was trustworthy. That he dropped them off at their house and helped them with their luggage and everything. It was very good. And I suggest, if you're going to Vrindavan, if you have any needs for a taxi or tours or yatras or things like that, please reach out to the Love Braj Foundation. You can see the website there. You back, Gaurav? Let me unmute you. I think I muted you by mistake. It says your mic is not connected. Okay, at the bottom there's a gear icon, settings, and you should change your mic settings to the one you're using. No, I still can't hear you.
Yeah, now
Oh,
better.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, perfect.
Sorry about that, man.
No, that's okay.
There's a podcast from India. Something has to happen, man.
Yeah, exactly. Especially Vrindavan. Especially Vrindavan.
Yeah, there you go. So,
you're telling us about the Prasad Seva.
Prasad Seva. So the way we have set it up, like in metro cities in India, you ask us today, in Mumbai, you'll get it tomorrow. So all the metro cities. So it's an everyday service. So we have a setup with the devotees from all the temples and everything, and then it's an ongoing service every day. So in COVID time, like not even COVID, a lot of devotees from South India, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, they actually really appreciated it. That because they couldn't come to the temple, they couldn't come to Vrindavan, and each devotee has a connection with each different deities. Some is connected. Some are connected with Radha Raman. Some are connected with Radha Ballabh. Some are connected with Shyam Sundar, Gopinath. Like different deities. And so they all ask for prasad, or prasad is another form. That's Krishna himself also. So if you get Vrindavan prasad delivered to your home, what more can you ask for?
Right.
Yeah. So metro cities, we do next day delivery. If it's a little further away in a remoter area, then maybe in 2 to 3 days it will take. But the seva is there internationally. So Janmashtami, a lot of devotees ask for Janmashtami, Radhastami, and then we do services also like Shraddh, if anyone wants to get Shraddh, Navratre, Pujan, everything. These are all part of the services. So that's the Prasad Seva especially, and it's an ongoing service, and we thought that we'll carry on this. I don't know how long would Krishna allow us to, but a lot of devotees are actually appreciating it. Many people think it's a, oh, you have started a business or something, but in today's time, you got to pay for the delivery at least, for the packing and the cost, and it's nowadays the other problem majorly that we were facing, that any temple you go to, it's gone very crowded. So, you weren't really getting prasad from it. You were just going, taking darshan out. In Banke Bihari or any other temple, there's so many people, hundreds and thousands of people, and how much prasad, that you can't get. Devotees cannot even reach that level.
Yeah.
So in this way, at least, if anyone wanted prasad, they can get prasad at home. And if someone wants to give as a birthday gift to someone, or in a special occasion, they wanted to, start off with the prasad of Vrindavan, whatnot. Why not?
Yeah.
And then
So
we
you
put in
have
little things also, like
so you
Braj
have
with
your
it.
right. So you have
when
your
it's
own
holy.
your
Sorry, you
own
carry on.
business. Like, sorry, I'm really sorry. You have your own income from your job, but then this is just as a service to Vrindavan. What you're doing, you've kind of created this infrastructure of, okay, we have the services that we provide, but that those funds go into serving parts of Vrindavan, which I think is a really brilliant thing. No one's ever. I feel like no one's. This is very unique to Vrindavan, right? I haven't seen this before.
We are the very first one doing it. We are the very first people doing it.
Very cool.
And I think going forward, I think this is how charity should really approach, because I don't know, for some reason, I've been running this charity for a very long time now, from 2006, right? And what was happening to, I'm very shy in terms of asking, like, Proji, can you donate something for our animal care? We are struggling with the medication, or we are struggling with the food, or we're struggling with the, and I was like, and everyone is already connected to a charity one way or another. Like, they're already contributing somewhere. And there's another big issue that if I'm giving to someone, is it going to the right place or not? Is it being misused? Is it being used properly? Is it going to someone's pocket? What's happening with it? I mean, you know me. If I asked you, you would give me. But if someone who doesn't know me, I'm a blank. They don't know about me.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought, this is a nice way that automatically charity is not relying on donations. If it comes, more than welcome. We are
Mhm.
we are government registered, our audit happens, we are 12A registered, everything legally or registered and everything. But if it doesn't come, then we just say to devotees, at least use our services and please recommend it. And so far, by Krishna's mercy, anyone who has used our service has not gone anywhere else. And they've always recommended. We have grown 5 times fold in a couple of years time right
Yeah.
now, to a point where this Karthik, we can't even cope with these level of services we are getting.
Wow.
So I think also it kind of creates a safer environment. And what used to happen where, like, say, for example, you booked a taxi, you need to go to the airport early morning. And many people at the temple, they were like, oh, Prabhuji, I'll book you for 100 rupee cheaper, 200 rupee cheaper. And then devotees, sometimes they get tempted with, like a little bit discount here and there. But then what happens with that is, our rate is flat. Either you take it, don't take it, it's no problem with us. We know even a small child comes or elderly comes or whoever comes is fixed. It's not like when you see someone, the price is different. When you see someone else, the price is different.
Right.
No, it's a standard rate, whoever comes. um, but there were, last week only, there were devotees who were telling me someone charged them for Mathura, just Vrindavan to Mathura, dropping uh, 3,500 rupees, and whereas our standard prices are 1,000 rupee. you know
Mhm.
so they were like, oh my god, we got cheated. I'm like, Proji, I wouldn't say you got cheated or anything, but you just need to be aware of this situations. And some last week again, the same situation happened where someone booked a taxi from us first, and then they must have got tempted with some cheaper price elsewhere. And the difference, no one, we are a very cheap platform if you compare us, because we don't fluctuate our rates. If it's Karthik season, it will go up. If it's off season, it will go down. Regardless, it will be the same rate,
Mhm.
and it's the standard rate. And uh, and we are the cheapest. If outside they're charging you 35, we probably charge you 3,300 rupees, like that. And he must have got tempted. And what happened next, 4 in the morning, then he rings me, Proji, the taxi guy didn't turn up, can you please arrange a
Oh.
taxi for me?
Oh my
And
goodness.
that time of the night, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Like, all the taxis are booked, but somehow we kind of pulled it together for him. But what I'm trying to say, with these kind of bookings, when you book it with a friend or someone or this and that other, when soon as they get a better price, they don't turn up.
Yeah.
They'll go with that. At least with us, it's done.
Yeah. No worries. No worries.
No, yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. I was while you were doing your headphones thing. I don't know if you heard. I was telling you about my experience with my parents and how I trusted you love Braj to get them and everything. They had a great experience. I just want to end off. We're running out of time, but Gaurav, what is Vrindavan to you? Being a resident there, leaving for a long time, coming back. What does it mean to you?
To me, I think Vrindavan's home. I can't describe it better than that, to be
Right.
honest, because grew up here, played here. Um, Unfortunate situation where I still try to see Vrindavan, how it was when I was little.
Yeah.
But it has changed massively. There are high rises now. They're not anymore fruit farming where we used to go to steal guavas. There's no flower farming anymore where we used to go steal roses and flowers for the Lord, as a kid. Um, but in again, because the plantation program was that at least, even with the high rises, at least we try to plant as many trees as we can. So at least when we come on the street, we see some sort of greenery.
Yeah.
You uh, but as how explains in Shastras and Bhagavatam, that more Kali progresses, dhams are going to get covered more and more with Maya. it's going to be more and more difficult to connect to the Lord. But Dham is always going to be Dham, and it's how you see it from within. It will become more and more difficult to see with our material senses and experience it with that. So again, with Love Braj also, we try to make an experience, try to show you places which are still hidden parts of glories of Vrindavan and hidden areas of Vrindavan which is not much explored, and give them at least a reasonable time when at least how much comfortable and easy we can make, and make them connect to the Dham and make them connect to Krishna than just them looking at the outer surroundings, what they see. So it's more of a joy, and every day there's a different challenge. Every day there is something new, and I love it.
While you were speaking, I was gonna ask you, seeing Vrindavan from what it was till now, do you love it any less, or do you have any lesser experience?
It's painful for me at times. Definitely, I would say that, because there was a lot more forest life, and there was a lot more foresty. But this is something beyond our control.
Right.
Materially and probably spiritually and materially, both ways, because the governments have the control over the body of how the Vrindavan structure is going to be, and spiritually, Krishna, Yoga Maya has control over how much she's going to cover it with. But definitely, Vrindavan I will always say, Braj, there's a saying in Vrindavan, Braj Raje Oda Mastak Pade Mukti Mukta Ho Jaye. That will always stay with Vrindavan. Like, even the dust of Vrindavan, even by accident, flies and comes on your head. Mukti Mukta Ho Jaye. I mean, the personality, the liberation herself will gets liberated. What to talk about us? So that's the value of Braj Raj. That's the value of dust. Forget about anything else. Forget about the temples, the darshans. I'm just, that's Vrindavan. It's always going to be Vrindavan.
Well, I just want to thank you for all that you do, Gaurav. It's really fantastic, and I'm so glad you came on to talk about your life as well as this Love Braj Foundation. I really highly recommend those listening, if you want to have a good experience in Vrindavan, practical wise, taxis, tours, etc., please reach out to the Love Braj Foundation. The website's there, tickering at the bottom. For our audio listeners, it's www.lovebraj.com, lovebraj.com, and you can get in contact with Gaurav and his team there, and they'll really take care of you, and I really recommend it. Gaurav, thank you again for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you,
appreciate it. I hope to see you in Vrindavan soon. I need to get over there as soon as possible. But
it would be nice.
Yes, it would be nice to meet again. Stay on. I'm just going to turn off the recording. All right.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare.